Hey, Zach.
Hello, Rich.
So I have a question for you. What B2B trends should companies be paying the most attention to as we get out of 2025 and into 2026?
We're going to cover that all in today's episode. I'm super excited to get into it. There's a lot of good trends. We kind of talked about it a little bit last week. I
Hmm.
definitely spoiled one of mine
You
last
did the
week,
rose.
but I go deeper into it this time. So
Okay.
it should be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, that's good. So as we head into 2026, the change and pace in B2B marketing isn't going to slow down. And I think all of our examples show that. Buyer expectations are on the move and shifting around left and right. There's new digital tactics that are out there. We're going to look at some trends and challenges that'll shape the end of the year and where some of your biggest opportunities might lie for 2026. So, if any of these are a surprise to you, they're all Googleable. You can learn more about them. You can also feel free to hit us up. Just go to our website and you can schedule a meeting, and I'm happy to just chat with you for free about any of these for a little bit. So, that's it. It's going to be a good episode, I think.
And it's going to be a good episode with a good cocktail. So this week's cocktail is a Harvest Moon.
Yes.
Again, I said we're going to do seasonal cocktails this quarter. So this is as seasonal as it gets. This cocktail is from the Food Network. Usually I pull from liquor.com, Punch. Uh, I'm a little more picky with what cocktails we choose, but I'm all in for the fun this episode. So it's built around really good fall seasonal flavors: apple, pumpkin spice. It has a graham cracker rim. It has some pumpkin beer in it. So we're really hitting all of the fall flavors. I know,
You're
I,
like
I know
hitting
you were gonna
everything.
make that face,
I'm like,
Rich.
yeah, it was like, my beer face, like it's coming.
But yeah, how do you make it,
Okay.
Rich?
Sure. So, and I did look this up. It's Daniel Yoon from the Food Network is the one who invented this, I believe, if it's the one I think. Um, oh no, this is slightly different than his. Interesting. I wonder if they've got a couple of them called the Harvest Moon. Anyway,
It
you will
must.
need, he's got one with bourbon, with whiskey.
Oh, maybe that one would have been
So
better.
maybe he modified it. I think it's the same. It's just whiskey instead of vodka. So crushed graham crackers for the rim. You've got to get some graham crackers, crush them, put them in a food processor, whatever, make graham cracker powder. And then for the recipe, you need 2 ounces of vodka, 1.5 ounces of Granny Smith apple juice, and use the juice. Don't use like an apple liqueur. Like you're not going to get the same flavor from an apple liqueur. An eighth of a teaspoon of pumpkin spice. That is your powdered pumpkin spice from your pantry. And a half ounce, okay, it's just a half ounce of pumpkin beer. You can do more if necessary. I mean, honestly, people know the way I make drinks. You can do more vodka if you want to, like, a little bit more beer, whatever. Okay, so simple syrup goes in one saucer and some crushed graham crackers in another. You dip the rim of your martini glass in the syrup and then in the crushed graham crackers. I think hopefully everybody knows how to rim a glass. If not, just Google rim a glass for a cocktail. I would use all of those words though, to make sure your search doesn't go off in a direction you don't want it to. Add ice to your cocktail shaker, and then vodka, apple juice, pumpkin spice, and a half ounce of the simple syrup also go in there. So shake it like crazy, and then strain it into your martini glass and top off with the pumpkin beer. Just below until it gets right up to about the cracker rim. So that's why you can use a little more if you need to. Because remember, fizzy stuff doesn't go in your shaker, folks. That just creates a giant
Mm.
mess when you open it up. It also kills the fizz in whatever you're putting in. So I think this is a great one. I would do this. The beer, like, it's a pumpkin beer, so okay.
And there's
Might be
some
an
good
ale.
pumpkin beers that aren't
There
like
are.
as beery, like a lot more pumpkin forward flavors. I know that there's like a pumpkin spice latte ale that I've had before. That might be okay. But
Yeah, and I do like a good ale. Oh, okay. So this version is Guy Fieri's. So that's why there's vodka in it. Um, okay, got it. I just had to look that up real quick. So if you see me like looking off, I'm looking at my other screen. But yeah, so Guy Fieri, nice job. All right. I wish we could just go make a couple of these and then come back, but we don't have time. So we'll be back in a minute. All right, we are back with B2B trends for 2026. So, what do you think you need to do in 2026? So, before we get into that, Let's talk a little bit about just the B2B landscape as we're kind of rounding out 2025 and where things are expected to go in 2026. So Zach, you want to kick us off? You got a nice stat for us?
Sure, yeah. 61% of B2B marketers say their biggest challenge going into 2026 is creating content that actually stands out. And I think that's really indicative of just how much you're competing for people's attention. I mean, we've really talked about this a lot lately, but the whole attention economy concept is
Mm-hmm.
huge. Like, you really need to catch people's attention in that moment, because if they have to click off, if they have to watch your ad for more than 15 seconds now, it's tough. Like, it's going to be tough to compete. And so I can definitely
It's going
see
to
where
be,
that percentage is coming from.
yeah, that'll be an interesting one with one of my main points. I have a content one, believe it or not. So that'll
Oh,
be,
nice.
we'll get to that in a minute. Stick a pin in it. So I think along with that, over half of buyers are expecting a personalized content journey at every single stage. And that is rough when you're trying to figure out content, especially as large organizations. Um, those can be pretty tough.
My next stat too is only 29% of B2B buyers say they trust vendor content, but 71% trust peer reviews and online communities, which that makes a lot of sense to me. I think a lot of people are tired of being sold to. Everywhere you look, we're being sold
Mm-hmm.
to. So authentic content that speaks directly to you as a human being and not to you as a number or a customer, always
Right.
gonna do way better than that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, I think going along with this, so B2B space, B2B, not B2C, like I had to double and triple check this. What percent of buyers say they prefer a rep-less sales experience? They want to be able to do the whole experience themselves online with no rep ever interacting with them.
ooh, that's a good
What do you
question.
think?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I saw this stat when I was looking around.
Oh,
Um, but I don't remember. Is it like 60%, 70%?
75%. Yeah.
70%. Yeah.
So three-fourths of people don't want to talk to a rep when buying in a B2B space. Like that is huge. And it goes right along with your content, right? Because your content has to be able to bring them on the journey because they don't want to talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Going right along with that, we talk about e-commerce and everybody thinks B2C. Mm-mm. B2B e-commerce is supposed to grow about 15% next year, and that puts it at a $36 billion industry, just e-commerce and B2B. And when you put those two together, or three, like all of that together, like content is difficult. People want better content, but they really trust peer-reviewed content. E-commerce and self-serve are growing at a huge rate and more people prefer it. B2B is going to have a big shift next year.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of what we're going to be talking about and seeing is stuff that you as the listener will probably already know. You just don't maybe know why or like where it's going, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Because everyone knows that content is struggling right now, but do they understand why the content is struggling or where they need to
Right.
make those changes? So I think yeah, I think that's going to be important to think about as we go through some of these. So we can get into my main point first.
All right,
As
let's
I
do
said
it.
last week, if you didn't listen last week, um, in B2B, much like The Bachelor, whoever makes the strongest early impression first often wins. And so what that means is you need to make memorable content, memorable ads. You need to, I'm sorry, Mace's barking.
It's okay. You got a dog. We're a dog agency. It's all good.
But yeah, you need to make memorable ads that really stand out from the pack. 82% of B2B buyers start with a day one list of brands, and 92% of purchases come from that list. So,
So their day one list is when they first start thinking about it. They grab a bunch of brands that they think can help them with. Is that what that is? Like before they
mm-hmm,
even get too far down the research road.
mm-hmm. And so
Wow.
you need to be their first, one of their first people they consider, because if you're, they don't, they're not changing that list. They might add one or two people, but it's you really need to make a strong first impression. And the reason
Uh-huh.
they compare this to The Bachelor is because, for those that know, there's a first impression rose, and there's a large percentage of people who get the first percentage rose, contestants, that end up being in the finale and there's still like a decent percentage of you winning just from getting a first impression rose.
So there's that bond at the first moment, right? I mean, it's sort of the love at first sight. It's not really love, but it's familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also just kind of like, you've committed to this group, or this person is kind of your favorite. So people have to knock them off, right? If you initially think this is my greatest first impression, somebody else is going to have to impress you more or do something different or better in order to knock them off of that list.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And that just goes back to having good brand awareness campaigns. So if we think about like where content is headed, right? It needs to be memorable,
mhm,
short, to the point. Think about the YouTube pre-roll ads, or even the ads like that are mid-roll. You know what I mean? All of those ads
mhm,
have 15 seconds to make an impression on you. And all of the ones that I've been seeing lately and where the industry is going have something memorable about them. Something weird, like what did I just watch? And so like I think that's something that's going to be huge in 2026, is because the attention economy is so competitive, you need to figure out ways to differentiate yourself, because there's so many boring B2B brands, there's so many boring B2B like ads and content.
mhm.
Don't be afraid to go outside of your comfort zone a little. I would highly recommend being as memorable as possible.
So in the B2C space, this is so weird, but I saw it was like a laundry detergent or a dishwasher. It was some sort of soap, some sort of a cleaner. I don't remember which one, but essentially they had a short. It was on YouTube or Instagram or somewhere. It was in one of those video short spaces, and they basically did a dick joke, like like it was a subtle one. It wasn't gross, but it was like, oh, and then they tied it, like it was very fast. It was like a 10-second hit. They tied it back into their brand, and then they were out. Sadly, I don't remember the brand, but I do remember thinking like, whoa, that is an interesting attempt to get people's attention.
And I mean,
Um,
you remembered it too. And so
I
you
did.
remember.
I just don't remember the brand. So
Ooh.
that's the problem. So it's really that, like, what's appropriate for you outside of your comfort zone, because you don't want to go too far because you're just going to lose everybody. But
Mm-hmm.
how can you push that limit or push a little bit further? And you will miss. You will absolutely miss. Ideally, it won't result in like a boycott or something like that. Don't miss hard, like have people review it. But you'll have stuff that just doesn't land, and that's fine. It's like comedians testing out jokes, right? Some don't land, and they get rid of them, and they try the ones that do, and they build this bigger group of jokes that land.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think
I think.
another
Oh,
piece to this, if I
go
can
ahead.
interrupt, another piece to this from a content standpoint, you want to be giving out good resources to help build trust as well. So I know us as B2B marketers like to gate things to, gather first party
Hmm.
data, but a lot of content is moving away from that. And a lot of the content that's performing well now is ungated and provides value in the moment. So not
Hmm.
only do you need to be memorable, you also want to be that like thought leader to those potential leads, right? So if you're providing them really good resources and you're not really gating them or taking any of their information, they're going to remember things like that. You're building trust. And there's opportunities like for say like a webinar to throw in links, to throw in
Hmm.
different ways to still get engaged with you and connect with you and gather that first party data. But I think it's just important to remember not everything has to be gated. Sometimes it's just important to build the trust.
Yep. Yeah, and I think that having that value in it, right? Like your goal is that your information is valuable enough that they're going to want to meet with you. They want the sales call. They want to talk to the rep. I think one of the other things we have to talk about here is getting included in that day one list. Your Google SEO has to be good, but more and more, I think it was by 2027 or 2028, ChatGPT will overtake Google as the top search engine.
Mm-hmm.
So your AEO, which is AI engine optimization, new term kind of coming out there, is also important. And guess what? That ties back to your content and how your content is structured. So it's got to feel good for a human, but there's got to be substance there so that AI gets the context as well. So I really think that people who are optimizing content for AI are going to have a better shot at being on that day one list, because people are going to go to ChatGPT and say, what are the best mid-range HubSpot marketing agencies on price who specialize in Service Hub. Like that's going to be a search and it's going to kick back 5 or 10 or 20 of those. And boom, that's my day one list. Like that's all I need to do to get a day one list. I
Mm-hmm.
might also like ask people on LinkedIn, refer me, that kind of thing to add a few to it. But I would wager to bet that most people are going to start with ChatGPT or with AI.
I mean, ChatGPT can already search the web, so it's already happening.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely something
Yep.
that you need to implement now, sooner rather than later.
Yep. All right. So moving into something completely more boring than roses. Um, this is one that people have heard. I know they've heard it. I know they've played with it. A lot of companies have dabbled with it. But most people aren't going at it like as hard as they could. So I'm talking about account-based marketing or ABM.
Mm.
So for those who don't know, ABM is choosing which companies fit your ideal customer profile, learning as much as you can about them, and then pursuing them. So you create, it's sort of the flip of your customer creating a day one list. You create your hit list of companies you want to work with. I have a friend who's got an agency in San Diego, and they have in their break room, they always had, well, they've got multiple locations now. So I don't know if they still have this everywhere, but in their office, they had like 1 foot by 1 foot tiles, like hanging on a wall on like wires, almost like artwork. And on one side were the logos of companies they want to work with. It wasn't their current companies they do work with, it's their prospects. And then they could flip it so it was just art on the other side. So if somebody was coming in like a current client or somebody from one of those, like they would turn it around. But the idea is that those companies that you want to go after are front and center all the time with you. So why do I think this is going to take off? ABM tools have been around for a really long time, and they've typically been ridiculously expensive. So looking at you, next roll. But there are tools now that can get you an ABM list and focus on things and provide simple enrichment for key elements you need, like address, job title, phone number. So if you've got a company name, um, a smart CRM and AI can actually go out to all kinds of data sources and pull in information about that company. They can pull in who their director of marketing is, who their director of sales is, who their operations person is, all of those things. And then once you have an email for that person or a LinkedIn profile, it can pull in more info for them. So that gives you a lot of what you need. And then you can do outreach if you want to. You could send them a gift, like a high prospect gift, because, right, these are your ideal customers. But what's also cool is you can use lead gen with that as well. So you tie your ABM list in with a smart CRM like HubSpot, and HubSpot does have some ABM tools built in there. You can get alerted when one of your prospects engages with your brand. And that gives you a real opportunity to know more about them, know what they're doing, keep things very personalized, and then really be ready to act when that prospect is. So that's one of the things that I just think is, I think with AI and with the research it can do, and with these tools becoming more commoditized and less like this premium, you must spend $10,000 a month to have the access to these tools. ABM is going to make a lot of sense. And I think it simplifies things like content, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
know these are the 20 companies and people I'm making content
And it's
for.
going to be highly tailored to those
Mm-hmm.
people. Wow,
Yeah,
that's
which
awesome.
cuts through some of the clutter and the crap. Like that's
I
what you
mean,
want to do, right?
you're making content for such a small, targeted subset of companies that you know what they like, and you're gonna get like right in front of them. So,
Mhm.
wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a super neat one. I'm like an ABM nerd, but I've been trying to make it happen with people for a long time. And I think that now it actually can. You just
Mm-hmm.
have to know a lot about your business and who you want to work with, which honestly, a lot of companies struggle with that. We consult with people who are like, I don't really know my sales funnel. I don't really know what people want at each stage. And it's like, okay, let's step back and do a little strategy work and figure this out.
Yeah, I
So,
agree. There's so many tools now that that's definitely a possibility for a lot of people.
mhm.
So, my next one is first party data is the new currency in B2B marketing. So, with cookies disappearing, first party data is now the most reliable way to understand and reach B2B buyers. The global consumer data platform market is projected to more than double from 2.1 billion in 2023 to 5.1 billion by 2028. So we're definitely on
So
that
that's
upward
people
trajectory.
selling our data. People selling our data is what you're talking
Yep.
about. Creepy and bad for individuals, amazing for marketers.
Mm-hmm. But they're saying like data that's collected by us as companies now is going to be more valuable than, buying third-party data. So,
Okay, got it, got it, got it.
so yeah, I think that's interesting to me. Like, I think that's always been kind of true in B2B marketing, right? You've always tried to like gate content behind specific parameters so that you're able to gain actual like information on people that are interested in what you're like the content you're putting out in the business that
Yep.
you're trying to sell them, the service. But yeah, it's becoming way more prevalent now. And I think it's like kind of taking me back to the account-based marketing thing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
data like from like how do I say this? First party data is going to become more valuable than third party data, and collecting it is going to be more important than ever. So your
Mm-hmm.
content really needs to be in line with that and how it can
Yeah.
collect leads. But at the same time, like you don't want to like encroach upon like gating too many things either.
Yeah, I think part of what you're getting at, one, it's sort of like almost like these were planned to all go together, which is kind of neat since it's an episode. But one of the things I think you're looking at is like the third party data can get you started. So that
Yep.
enrichment data that you bring in can get you started. But too many people rely on that as the end all be all, and this is all I know about that customer. But things that you gather for them are going to be way more important. So I mean, their behavior, their activities as it relates to your company, your website, your content, your materials, what their universe is, gathering and looking for where they're at, what they're consuming, those kinds of things. That's going to make you smarter than somebody else because everybody can go buy the same third party data, right? It's just a
Mm-hmm.
budget thing. It's just a price thing. But understanding how they've behaved with you is going to be where like that value really lives. The thing that I love about that as well is that information isn't necessarily valuable to another company
Mm-hmm.
because they'll have different opportunities to engage, different opportunities to dive in. Now, can you learn from your competitors? 100%. Absolutely. But just them like getting access to your first party data doesn't do a lot for them,
Mm-mm.
especially in B2B. In B2C, maybe a little bit, but in B2B, it really, really doesn't.
Well, and it's like you said, right? Like the whole like tailoring your targeting, your marketing to your specific target audiences and like getting really into the nitty-gritty of personalization, having the data to enable you to do that so that you understand what they do and do not like, what they're looking for out of your services
Yep.
is going to be super important. And that's how you're going to make the day one list and get the first impression rose. So,
Way to try to bring it back around there, Zach. Bring it back around. What's interesting, we had a promotion a while ago, and I think it's still a campaign in HubSpot, probably way, way down the list. But it was like let us buy you a drink was the premise. I don't remember what we called it. We had some clever name for it. But the idea was this was pre-pandemic, and then we shifted it to a virtual thing during the pandemic. But the idea was just fill out this form. All we want to know is your name, your company, your email address because we've got to get in touch with you. It was name, company, title, email address, and then a marketing issue you want to discuss, which is similar to our contact form now. But then we added the question of, preferred cocktail or non-alcoholic beverage. And so they could put in iced tea, they could put in vodka soda, whatever. And so when we would have those meetings, we'd have their favorite drink there.
what? That's awesome.
Yeah, we only did like two, so it didn't really take off. I think it would actually probably go better now,
It was
but
too ahead of its time.
I think it was. But think about that with like this podcast, Cocktails, Tangents, and Answers, right? So if you were my prospect and I knew your favorite drink and I knew what you needed to hear in like a topic, I could ensure, like, it'd be like, hey, Zach, we're going to make this drink for this one because this target of ours, high value target, needs to hear about this topic and this is their favorite drink. So that gives me an in to send them the episode and say, hey, I was just thinking you when we did this happened to be your favorite drink, even though we engineered it. So that depth of first party data isn't what everybody's going to have. You're not going to know their favorite drink or their favorite animal or things like that. But, clocking whether they're a dog person or not, we heard Misa barking there for a little bit. Like, yeah, that happens. My dogs will come in and out sometimes. And that happened to us on a discovery call the other day. The woman, like, toward the end said, hey, it's really great to see, like, I've seen dogs come in and out of a couple of your, like, frames, even though it's blurred, I can tell it's a dog. And she's like, I've got a dog. And she's like, I just feel like the dog people are good people. So it made her, like, feel better about us just as humans. So it was interesting. All right, one more.
Sure. What do you got?
So this one ties into yours as well. Content will be king. And I know we've heard that for years, but B2B marketing has to get better at content and heavier into it. B2C has kind of figured this out and is doing a whole lot better. But with B2B, what's really interesting is video and audio content is going to be huge as well. Long form and short form, Zach, really weird as I was doing the research. So this is going to put a lot of pressure on people, right? Because creating content takes time. You'll need a strong in-house and or agency-driven content engine. You can use AI appropriately, but AI is not going to create the content for you. Generative AI is not there yet. It can help. It can augment. It can optimize.
People are trying to find real content. Like, they're going to spot AI content. It's just a fact.
Yeah, but one of the good examples for AI, right? You shoot a 3-minute video about your product, about your service, about whatever, and then use an AI agent in one of the content tools to cut it down into a few 5 to 10 second snippets for social to drive people back to the main one. But with long form content making a comeback, there's a huge opportunity there. You do have to structure it for humans to be able to scan it. It's got to be scannable, digestible, but it gives you a real opportunity for AI to gain context and substance around your brand and to understand things. AI can ingest long form content extremely fast and use that for context. And there are ways to format that, which we're going through right now with our content plan, I know for next year and for clients, to ensure that, again, you get in that day one list, because if they're asking AI, they've seen your content and it's pulling in where it needs to be. We'll probably have to do a whole other episode with Riley at some point on like optimizing for AI, because I know he'll want to do that. He'll actually be really excited about it.
100%.
So content will be king, and but differently, very different than the way it has been in the past.
It has been, and always, I mean, not maybe always, but it definitely has been for a long while, and it will continue to be in the near future.
Well, we consume stories, right? That's a human existence. We consume stories and experiences, and we want to hear about those from others. But yeah. All right. So I think some really great stuff in here. So we've got your day one list matters, that Bachelor Rose effect. Account-based marketing is going to take off. First-party data is your new currency and probably one of the most valuable things you can have. And then content is going to be king, and you've got to really figure that out. And if you put all 4 of those together, it's actually a really strong strategy for going into 2026.
I was going to say, you might want to steal this semi-campaign that we've basically given you.
It really is your overarching kind of strategy of how you need to execute for the next year. So all good.
Yeah. And, thank you for listening. As always, you can find our agency at antidote71.com. All of our socials are there as well. If you have a question you'd like to send our way, hit the ctapodcast.live to shoot us an email. Or even better, leave us a voice message on our hotline at 402-718-9971. Your question will absolutely make it into an episode of a podcast. Yep. And we'll see you next week for another great episode.